that's a soda pop from Soda Hughes, and you are watching the Malak channel, and today we're looking at a comic, sort of a collection of 4 comics, I guess it's a complete edition, of the Evil Within comic by Ian Edgington, Alex Sanchez, and Ed Anderson. And Unleash the Fanboy calls it grippingly chilling, a must-read. Geek Sushi says a suspenseful thrill ride. You know, I feel like it's not that good. It's kind of, maybe sometimes when things are hyped up a little too hard on the cover, maybe it's a bit of a bad sign. But we kind of jump right in. This is the one I originally thought I was getting when I got that first Evil Within comic, the interlude. I didn't know that there were 2 separate series around the time of the first game. But also I'm not sure how much liberty these guys had, because, you know, they can't really do things that'll really affect the story. They probably have to do kind of like side story prequels, which is kind of what happens. And, you know, probably because of budgets and stuff, you know, they don't have that much. Even if it's 4 comics put together, they really were short, just like the other ones. So there isn't that much that can really happen. Luckily, this one does kind of get kicked off a little bit faster. And part of why I think I like this one so much more than the other one is just, you know, you get a lot of these little traces from STEM that were just some of the very distinguishable and lovable things from the game. Like the mirrors, you know, the nurse, Tatiana, and just the way she talks. Unfortunately, with like the storyboarding, things don't like flow or transition as impressively as the game, which is one of the things that I thought was so cool about the first game, was just some of those transitions, how they end up in different situations, that dreamlike sort of falling quality that sometimes happens in it, just, you know, a lot of the angles and effects. It is a very cinematic game in a lot of ways, a visual feast, and just so many of the locations and stuff and moments are memorable. I remember, what's her name? Is it Gabby? Gamer Gab or something like that. I think I watched her playthrough again, and I was surprised at how much I remembered and just, you know, recognized. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember what's going to happen here. I remember this place. And yeah, just these characters, they've been kidnapped and they are in STEM, and STEM is sort of taking their guilt and their poor qualities and turning it into monsters or problems against themselves. And they're all perishing. Unfortunately, also in these panels, probably because of budget and stuff, there's a lot of varying quality between panels. Some of the faces, and just you can tell some of them are not max effort at all. And maybe I am a little spoiled with manga and stuff, but, you know, even there, that sometimes, you know, there'll be less background or things, but in a lot of the manga that I bought and liked, the quality is pretty consistent. And a lot of these comics that I go through, there'll be like drastic differences between panels. You can tell which one did not matter to the artist. And also, unfortunately, in this one, they kind of did my girl Lara a little dirty. She doesn't really look scary. She just looks kind of gross, which is really unfortunate because Lara is such a cool character design, and like I feel like part of the problem is also the lighting. There isn't just there really isn't dynamic lighting in these. The colorist did everything pretty flat. And it could just be a stylistic choice, but it's not my preference. Yeah, it's I like the whole like horror aspect of it, that all you know, your cast of characters is kind of being picked off. Yeah, look at Lara, jeez. Isn't she terrifying? The Lara that they drew didn't. So like I was saying, I didn't feel like the story was very gripping or exciting. I really didn't care. Mostly I was excited to just see stuff from the game that I loved. And this is the part where I got excited because I don't know if it's a credit to the environmental designers of the game, or maybe the artist, just in very simple fashion. I could instantly tell, you know, where this is. You know, this is I think the Butcher's area, kind of where the first game kind of really takes off. You start to really control Castellanos, and the horror of the game begins. And right off the bat, I saw that. I was like, oh, I know where they are. And I think there's like a green goo jar somewhere in the background in the comic. Just some of those things that were kind of lovable and like little calls. Yeah, he's like putting the brain in the jar. Just, things that kind of nice little fan service. I appreciated that. And little subways. Yeah, a lot of things that, just recognize. That really awesome part of the game where you gotta go through the subway train that's like in between the two buildings and cliffs. It's just awesome. Yeah, you can see like this guy here, he's rendered really well. But then there's some other panels that are just like not so good. I would imagine it has to do with budget. We get to a STEM unit. And boy, Ruvik looked rough. Yeah, I learned a new word. Yeah, this is she chooses to go out on her own terms, and so he calls it a Pyrrhic victory. And I had to look up what Pyrrhic meant. Always fun learning new words, so that was cool. But yeah, luckily it has kind of the variant cover gallery. I think this one was an Olimpieri. God, look at that Lara. That's so cool. I would love a print of this or to own the original ink. This thing is so sick. Love the way Lara looks here. It's always tough with that kind of stuff because, with video games, a lot of times there's either concept art or a variant cover or something. And I look at that and I think about how wonderful the world was, and I want to see the world in that style. And I'm like, when I hear there's a comic, I'm like, ooh, I'm imagining the comic looking all like, all Imperi's art. I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool. This unfortunately didn't really scratch the Evil Within itch I have to want more and more. I love the Evil Within. I love the Evil Within too. But yeah, it's kind of like a similar problem as what I feel a Metal Gear comic had. I looked that thing up and I was so excited when I found out it existed. I was like, ooh, because I was imagining it was going to be in the style of Yoji Shinkawa, because I'm like, if you're going to have a drawn, specifically ink drawn rendition of the Metal Gear world, it better be in the style of Shinkawa, even if you're outsourcing for budgetary reasons or because Shinkawa couldn't be bothered to do that, which I can definitely see being the case. Unfortunately, I remember the Metal Gear comics being like really muddy and kind of foggy and not super distinct, and being really disappointed in the visuals of it, enough so that I was like, I don't know if I'm as interested. I'm a bit of a sucker for the visuals. So sometimes when they can't speak to me, it hinders me from really getting into even the story of a comic. Yeah, this isn't so bad, but it's also not it's not game changing. But if you are desperate for more Evil Within content or this look good, you can check it out. I'll probably include an affiliate link somewhere in the description. More importantly, I have my Patreon link in the description. You can support me there. Be sure to check it out. You can vote on what video is uploaded next, get your name in the credits, or see the original art in my own personal collection reproduced. So give it a look-see and maybe support me. Like, subscribe. I really love doing this, and I would love to keep doing it. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope to see you again, and take care.